Hello, welcome to my presentation on cheat codes. Today I'm going to be talking about how to make your own cheat codes by searching for values in game's RAM, as well as a little bit of history. I apologize, my camera decided not to work today, so you're just going to have to hear me. All right, I'm going to be going over briefly the history of cheat codes, talking about the hardware that lets you cheat, and then I'll be doing a live demonstration on how to find values in RAM to give you like extra ammo. A little bit about me. My name's Nathan. I have an education in cybersecurity and networking. Big disclaimer, I'm not a programmer. I don't work in the game industry. I don't have a lot of experience. I just like hacking stuff and messing around with games. My wife Ginger and I are newly married, and we're on the neurodiverse spectrum. We support mental health in the church. I've never given a presentation before, and I'm not a great public speaker, so I'd appreciate a lot of grace. Okay, so first I'll go over the history of cheat codes. Cheat codes were originally invented by developers to test their games and find bugs. It allows them to replay a specific level, or if there's a bug they want to trigger. A famous one is the Konami code. It was invented in 1986. Problem is, when the devs were making their games, they were even a little too hard for them. So the Konami code came out of instead of making the game easier, instead of making the game easier, they decided to put the code in so they could cheat their way through testing. Let's see, in the 1980s, computers were a little easier to manipulate. You could dig around in the memory of a game or program and swap around values, like boosting certain stats in an RPG. They were called pokes. Right, video game cheats quickly became something more than just debugging reasons. Many games included them for fun or helping players reach part of a game they wouldn't never really get to see. We can briefly touch on the morality of codes. Some people think they're cheating, stay away from them. Others think they're just for fun. A lot of times people use cheat codes to pretend they got a high score and they really didn't. Cheat codes are normally built into software by the devs, but some products came around in like the 90s, or even in the 80s and 90s, to let you cheat in games that didn't support them. The game Genie here is one of the most famous examples. It allowed you to cheat for the NES, Super NES, Game Boy, and Genesis. You plug the game cartridge into it, and then when the console boots up, it gets you this little screen over here where you can enter a code. The codes are basically a short version of a memory address and then a new value to store there. This is another one called Action Replay. It supported a little more modern systems like the GameCube and PS2. It's pretty much the same thing.
Hi, Nathan. Just wondering, do you have slides you want to share?
Whoops, forgot to share my screen.
No worries. Great.
Sorry about that. Okay, recap about me. I'm in modding. Let's see. History, there's a Konami code, cheating hardware. Yeah, this is the game Genie. You plug in the cartridge into this thing, and then a little screen would pop up. This allows you to enter a code. Okay, so now I can do a live demonstration. It's difficult for me to show this on hardware, so I'm going to be using a GameCube emulator called Dolphin, and then another tool called Dolphin Memory Engine. Okay, I'm going to be using Wind Waker for this example. Okay, so everything you see on screen here is stored in RAM at some point. So I have 5 bombs, I have 5 arrows. Let's try and figure out where the bombs are stored. So over here, this is a memory searching tool. What I can do is I can enter an exact value of 5, do a scan, and it's going to scan in memory anywhere it finds the number 5. Let's see, so it found 78,655 results. Our goal is to whittle this down to 0 results. So I'm going to click scan a few more times. It gets down a little bit. a little bit. What I can also do is I can search for a value that has decreased. So I'm going to throw one bomb, click next scan, and now we're down to 17 results. I'm going to do it one more time. Next scan, and here we go. Here we go. This is the value. This is the location in RAM where the bombs are stored. I can add it down here. Give it a label. And now I can change this to whatever I want. It's like 70 bombs. I can also lock it here, so this will give me unlimited bombs. All right, let's try the same thing with the arrows next. I'm going to hit reset scan. We have 5 arrows. And then same thing, that's a lot of results, so let's try and get this down to 0. Let's shoot 1 arrow. And then scan for a value that has decreased. And then we can keep doing that until we get down to the one we want. And here it is. Again, I can change this to whatever value I want or lock it in place so I can have unlimited arrows. And then that's pretty much it. You can do this from pretty much any game you want. With enough patience and trial and error, you can find whatever. You could find the rupees. You could probably find what controls the weather. You can control your health. All right, I'm going to give one more example using Sonic the Hedgehog. This is the GameCube version, but under the hood, it's still the same Genesis game. All right, let's try and find how many rings Sonic has. I'm going to grab one ring. Let's grab 2 rings, or 3. And then I'm going to search for a value of 3. Let's see, 94,980 results. Do the same thing. All right, so now I'm going to do, this time it increased. Whoops. So this time the value increased. Do a scan. Down to 6,000. Closer. Let's grab some more rings. And then again, the value increased. And then we just pretty much keep doing this till we find the one we want. And here we go. It's probably this one. I'm going to give myself, say, 200 rings. And that should update as soon as I grab another one. And there we are. Let's try and find Sonic's lives next. So I'm going to do a new scan. Looks like I have 5 lives. Scan. And then I'm going to lose a life and then do a decreased. All right, down to 4 lives. So next scan. And I'm going to do it one more time. Down to 3. There we go. I'm going to guess it's this one. So let's give myself 99 lives. And it should reflect the next time I die. There we go. We're now down to 98 lives. So that's pretty much that. You can do this in pretty much in a lot of different emulators. You can do it on PC with the right software. Here's the tools I use for Dolphin Emulator and then the memory engine. So yeah, I'm going to spend the rest of the time with any Q&A you might have. Okay, question. Since you are a security expert, what is your take on the log4j that was discovered in Minecraft? Huge implications to the business world. Yeah, it was a very serious exploit. It affects pretty much all legacy applications that are using this. So yeah, it's a big deal. Do you have any tips for hacking modern games brought on by Steam? Yes, there's some tools on PC you can use that do the same thing as the Dolphin memory engine. It's called a cheat engine. I didn't want to show it off because it's very easy to download malware when you're downloading cheat engine. But yeah, there's tools to do this on Steam games as well. Okay, when creating cheats or game hacks for players to intentionally unlock, what do you recommend? I'm not really qualified to answer that question. I'm not really a gameplay designer. I'm mostly a hacker. I like to tinker with stuff. But excellent question. Any fun discoveries found using this sort of game memory poking? Yes. A while ago, I was trying to make a mod for Wii Sports to change the wind speed to be like 100 miles an hour in golf. I guess not super interesting, but I discovered the value they use for the wind speed on the next hole becomes the course number. Kind of interesting, but what sorts of things can developers do to make it more difficult to hack their games? Again, I'm not a programmer, but that's a great question. Uh, you can probably encrypt as a security guy. Encryption would be my first answer, but in a game, you need the software to run really fast, and encryption is very slow. Do you have free or low priced recommendations for getting more cybersecurity experience besides Security Plus certification? I actually don't. To be honest, I'm in the same boat. I got my degree, but having a difficult time finding experience. What other kinds of hacks have you done? Good question. A while ago, I did the same thing on a modified Switch. There's a homebrew tool I found, like in Mario Odyssey, I was able to find where the coins are stored. I've played around with some texture modding before, like a Final Fantasy or a Breath of the Wild. I've done some texture mods. I have done some few hardware mods too, like installing LEDs in a GameCube. What anti-hacking considerations should web-based developers take? Again, I'm not a software developer. I'm not really familiar with current methods, so I'm not really qualified to answer that question. What do you look for while finding programs to hack games as a security expert? Things to avoid, things to look for that are desirable. Let me think about that. I look for programs that are well documented and well known, and generally I look for ones that are open source. Things to avoid, if it comes from a sketchy website, if it doesn't have a lot of downloads, or there's no documentation on it. I think we're out of questions. I guess I'm going to wrap it up here. Oh, we got one more. Are you ever concerned about violating some sort of EU lay when hacking games? Personally, not really. A lot of companies hate cheating. They hate mods. I'm personally not concerned with that, and I certainly don't do this in online games. I do it for my own personal amusement. Have you ever experimented with scanning network packets? I have not. It is on the to-do list. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, thanks for listening. I appreciate the patience as I stumble through my first presentation. Yeah, have a good one.